All right, welcome and hello to everyone watching this live from the Academy, and also everyone who is watching this in a YouTube video after the fact. What we're doing now is a pro demo. There has been the EU RMR, and there was just a match between Team 00 Nation, who have a few big names, and ICLA, who also have a few big names, but maybe less so. What we will be doing is watching this ancient demo to figure out what worked for each team, what is the sort of meta in CS2 on ancient right now, because very recently teams have started adapting this this mid lurk smoke. Yeah, and as you can tell, I still got some problems with my lungs. I'm going to the doctor again tomorrow, but I hope that I won't be coughing so much today. What I was saying was, recently teams have started using this mid lurk smoke. The idea is it gives you more space, and it's more difficult for the CTs to go and clear out this area fully. As long as this smoke is up, you can flash and take like this area, and then you can more easily go and take more area around the smoke. So this is definitely something I'll be looking out for in this match. On top of that, one thing I want to say is that if you would like to ask your own questions and be a part of one of the coaching lessons here on Gosu Academy, at least for the people rewatching this after the fact on YouTube, there will be a link in the description you can click on, and by doing so, you will be able to ask questions, but you'll also be able to recommend future topics for me to cover. So with that boring stuff out of the way, I'm thinking we now just go into the match. I'll turn on the volume slightly. And also, for the people who don't watch so many demos, the demo viewer in CS2 is still a little bit broken, so sometimes things might look a little weird. But yeah, that's something we will figure out with time. So already looking at the radar, we have 3 towards A, and basically 2 playing B. Very normal with double dualies on ancient. And something that is not so normal is no mid smoke. A lot of Ts will use a red room smoke. But for a lot of teams, the red room smoke will mean also that they are going A. And that might be the reason why. Good setup here with the flash. And honestly, just a very clean round from 00 Nation. We saw the pistol round setup come into play. You have one playing retake here on B. You have dually in cave. You have dually in donut. And what is likely going to be the way the round ends, if it ends towards B, the CT player playing retake on B will fall back. And then many players will come from cave, which is a close quarters area. You can jump the corners with dualies. And then the CT playing here can use a flash in front of short or long or something like this. This is at least probably the way I would approach the round, and this is like the backup plan, but ideal situation for the CTs is obviously that the Ts go A, and if they do, they have a flash set up over the side, and they all peek together and fight together. So very good start for the CTs, and this will, not to spoil too much, this will be sort of the trend. The CTs are going to have a very good start to this match. I'm not going to tell you how the match ends exactly, for the people who don't know yet. But now, just a little bit of eco bashing. I think we will skip most of the unimportant rounds. This is a great way to play. I think I've talked about this in previous sessions. I call this like doing this magisk because of the player. The idea here is that you jiggle in and out. You have a Molotov or a smoke in hand, and when you get contact, then you drop your util. It's a really good way of conserving util, because you won't have to use it until you get contact, and then you know for sure you're dropping at the right time. We'll see it come into effect here. I'm not sure I would do this against eco, but we see the Molotov come in. Now the T's are slowed. One guy goes through. Rest of the team doesn't follow. And now should be 3 frags for the MP9, and it pretty much is. Just died then. But a good way to play on A. That's a lot of rhymes. So one guy has actually snuck out here. We do get a fight. But CT decides to fall back. I like... I'm not sure who exactly this is. I think it might be the QUAL guy on ICLA. But there's a lot of confidence in the way he's playing here. He's comfortable in standing in mid in a pretty open space, peeking red room, making noise, using smoke. And it's just a pretty chill round for the T's at the moment. I'm not even sure, honestly, who is the IGL of ICLA. But for CS2 Nation, it is Griffin Sky. A very good entry from QUAL. Nothing too exciting or special happening right now. Just a red room push. They're gonna get punished in that. So the reaction from the T's here is, okay, we've just seen that there are 2 players around mid. Now we want to take space on the sides. Which makes a lot of sense. This guy tries to sneak on up, see if he can make something happen. And now Lekko with the bomb dies in mid. The round should be pretty done. So as I've kind of already said, the start to this match might be a little bit slow, but the demo becomes important later on. And I think also, with what I mentioned, with the lurk smoke mid, which is becoming more and more meta, the fact that we're not seeing this from ICLA could be an indicator that this is not one of their preferred maps, or like at least not one of their most played maps, or that they just haven't had that much time to practice. I do believe it's a pretty new team. CS2 Nation have also made some moves in terms of players, but I think ICLA more so. Just in general, they have a younger team with a lot less experience, and it makes things more difficult at the beginning. But this lack of mid smoke, or lack of mid control in general, could be part of the reason why we are not seeing ICLA really amount to a whole lot here. You see again, mid control getting lost. They lose the fight in mid. Anyone here from the academy who can tell me like one, I would say, very big error that ICLA are making right now in their mid control? I'm looking for something specific, but there might be multiple things. And if no one's prepared to give any guesses, what I'm seeing is that earlier we saw the mid smoke from the CTs, and then we saw this QUAL guy go out in the left corner, and he was holding there, and he was very alone. Being alone means not much trade potential, and we see it in fact here once again. QUAL runs out mid, he goes down, not much mid control on the T's, 0 trade potential, and this is just a nightmare scenario. They didn't get the control, they lost a player, and they had 0 chance of trade. And even though we're only on round 5, there seems to be sort of a common theme. This lack of synergy, a lack of teamwork, is something I'll be looking to see in ICLA, because I know that the T side is going to be rough. And it's always interesting to know why. So we'll see a big fight coming in here. Surson versus the Orb of ICLA. And yeah, Surson moving quite well. But now they do know it's A. Doesn't have a whole lot of space. Does actually get 1 kill. And Topa finds another. So now it turns into a 3-on-3. It's in fact very winnable, especially if I think it's Adex who is the OP here. Yeah, he does get another kill, and even another kill on top of that, and the third as well. I had the pleasure and also not pleasure of playing this guy on LAN in Paris almost exactly 1 month ago. The guy is pretty sick. Like, he has very good aim, very confident, smart player. And you see it here, hitting every shot. So first round in the bag for ICLA, but if it's look at it from like a tactical point of view, this was not a great round. Like, they gave up mid control, like they fought for it, but they didn't win it. There was this 0 trade potential we talked about. Their way of going A was not lucky and not like super uncoordinated, but it was a gamble. They just went A and won the duels. Tactically, they haven't done anything to impress me yet. And I'm sort of hoping that will change, but at the same time, I'm not sure if it will. This is one of those more aggressive teams where anything can happen. And we see it again. Another opening going in the way of 0-0 Nation with no trade potential whatsoever. And in fact, it's again around mid. ICLA losing a player to a guy peeking heaven. This is kind of interesting for me that Adex is so far forward on this box. To me, this doesn't seem like a good position, exactly for the reason that we see here. One flash and you could easily get stuck on that corner and you might not be able to move out of the position in time. It seems like it would be better to stay a little bit further back, but to each their own. Now we see a very valuable piece of utility. Adex, number 6 on the radar, throws a Molotov to pillar. While this might seem for an experienced player like it's a Molotov you would throw just to make noise and be annoying, this Molotov lands right here, which also makes it so no one can go in and peek cave late. This means if someone is inside the cave area, they are right now stuck and can't get any help from teammates, and this is what allows his team now to take further space. It can seem sort of innocent, but it really isn't. And they use this Molotov to take extra space. Now we'll see the opening fight coming in from Adex. He does get one kill and gets immediately traded. But this could be another round for ICLA, honestly, with how it's looking right now. They do get a big kill on Syrson. Syrson is the type of guy who would run through this Molotov sometimes, but in the 3-on-2 seems like the better decision is to chill. So quick wrap around coming in from the CTs. Potentially the best thing for the T's to do now is fight for the backline. If they with 2 can go and push the CT down, that's something that could make this round very winnable. Instead they don't. They become, or maybe not become, but they are a little bit too stale in their play. And it doesn't really work out for them at all. And as I mentioned, I was looking for something tactically sound that we could see from ICLA, and this was like the first sign of it. Using the Molotov to take more space on B was a pretty good play. It's not the most complex play, but it is a play. And now for the first time I think ICLA actually get a entry, but it does get kind of quickly traded and then traded back. And again, this mid control, it seems to be kind of won by 0-0 Nation. Again, ICLA get a kill around cave, which opens up the round, but then not like Cubby doesn't get cleared properly, and one guy like I think JDC gets a trade. He then gets traded, but then Syrson trades on top of that. And then we see sort of the experience come into play. As soon as Syrson kills this guy in mid, they immediately rotate over to B with 2, because they want to now block the bomb site. B, they know it's not A, and they've sort of just won the mid fight. So now the next point of contention is going to be B, and Syrson is very ready for Topa to walk on in. Problem is someone has snuck through here, and Adex actually has a big timing. I'm not sure if he knows just yet. Now he will, but he did get spotted by Syrson. Yeah. Bit of a misplay by Bird from Sky probably here. He did make it through the Molotov, but then wanted to play a little bit slower. And now just a clutch. So, again, I would say tactically not the deepest round from ICLA, but it is nice to see them get a few round wins here on the T side. The reason I care so much about how it tactically looks is because typically how good a team tactically will look on T side is a very good indicator of how much success they will get in the long term. Obviously, for a relatively new team, they will have less success normally on the T side, and they will look less coordinated. But if a team has a very good T side, typically the CT side comes down to more things like individual skill and just I guess reactionary play. So having a really good T side is a sign that you have a very good tactical understanding of the map, and I'm not yet seeing that from ICLA from like a team perspective. I'm more so seeing it from like an individual perspective. They know what they're able to do and what they're not able to do, but nothing too special yet. For anyone wondering why this guy is molotoving around this box every time, by molotoving at the bottom of this box, he eliminates the possibility of the CT going up here and peeking. The very meta molotov lately. It wasn't really in use for a very long time, but since it did start getting use, no one's ever stopped. So yeah, that's a crazy kill by Fresher. A nice kill from Adex. Again, very simple stuff. But we see the confidence on this guy. Yeah, it's not very easy in the CS2 demo viewer to switch to the correct player. So I'm missing a lot of the action, and I apologize for that, but it's just, you can't change with numbers. So if I want to go from number 8 to number 5, I have to click through all the T-side players first to get to number 5. And that's sometimes the issue. But yeah, again, tactically not the deepest round from ICLA. It's simply a B contact where they just go up and get the kills. And sometimes it can be that simple when you play against low money. But I do think they are going to be losing this round. Holy hell, he actually got dinked. One of the things that is like, I guess it's called a pet peeve for me personally, is that I hate anti-ecos, or at least it's something I've more recently been hating. I dislike anti-ecos where you split up. So with that, I am not saying that you're not allowed to default. I definitely think defaulting is one of the best ways to win against low money as T. But with ICLA here having one here, 2 going out here, 1 chilling here, and 1 going up here, it it means that if the CTs push together, coordinated somewhere, 3 out of the 5 players will have a duel alone. So if the CTs push on A, well, the guy who's sitting here, he is dead. And if the CTs were to push a cave, which was kind of what happened, well, this guy who's going up here, he will die. If the CTs were to push many banana and try to fight this guy out here, he's kind of fighting alone. The cave guy would be able to help. In this case, he's not alive. But the only people with real trade potential are the people in mid. So the way I like to approach my anti-equals lately is on a map like Ancient, either having 3 here outside A and 2B, or having 3B and 2A. That way, you play always in a pair, and it means that if the CTs are pushing you anywhere, not only do you have more trade potential, let's say 2 people, like we have 2 B players, and the CTs push on B, well, now we have trade potential B, but we have a big group of people who are standing next to each other, who now are able to quickly react towards the A bomb site and take this space if there is a stack on the B bomb site. Same thing works in inverse. If we have 3, 2 outside A, these guys get pushed. There's a lot of trade potential if there are 3. There's only like 2 people being able to trade, kind of the same as we had on B. But if we then have 3 or 2 players on B, there is still trade potential when they react and go up and take B, and they can actually take over a lot of space. In some cases, it will be like, let's say, 4 CTs pushing, mid and A, whatever, and 1 guy sitting in some nasty corner on B, which is why the way ICLA is setting up is not something I like. If the A player would get pushed now, well, then the banana player would be running up and potentially be dying to a CT sitting in a weird spot. That is why, for anti-equals, I prefer that people play in big pairs, 3 and 2, or the other very sort of high win percentage way of playing it is playing like 4 and 1, or playing 4 and 1. The reason is because if the 1 like the guy who's playing alone, let's say he's B, and we have 4 guys outside B, outside A. Well, the guy who's alone can take a Mech 10 against very low money. He can run up, he can check if they're stacked on B. If they're not stacked on B, the team can rotate back. If they are stacked on B, the team can react and go A. Those are very simple ways to run a default against an eco round or low money round. And ICLA is not doing this very well in this round, in my opinion. Another added benefit is if you play in pairs, you will not have a situation like now where Vladan, who killed, got a weapon down, which was an AK, and now the weapon gets retrieved by the CTs and gets used against them. If you play in big pairs, the weapons will always be guardable, so long as you have a player who's alive around there. Another issue we have here from ICLA is the bomb is in T-spawn, and so literally no one could react here. Even if they would find out there's a stack, no one is able to react. So again, tactically from ICLA, I'm seeing things that I don't like. Let's say it like that. And I am fairly certain that when we go over on the T side, even though this game will go to overtime, I imagine we will be seeing a much more tactically sound T side from 00 Nation, as I know Bird is a very good in-game leader. And we see the cause of it here as well, what we talked about just before. Not only are they losing to low money, they are 2 versus 5. So now 3-on-1. And one of the worst things that can happen here for ICLA is if they don't even get a bomb plant. Losing a round is one thing, but if you don't even get a bomb plant, that's much worse. It could have happened here, but it doesn't. I think the guy on ramp JDC was slightly slow. But either way, a 1 round from 00 Nation, and I think it comes a lot down to the approach. Just pointing it out again, won't pause for too long, but again, mid control with 1 player, not a fan. Again, 0 trade potential, very risky. It does sort of work out for him here, but again, all peaks alone. There's actually a trade coming in somehow, but a very disjointed T side from ICLA so far. Like, it's one thing to be giving up a lot of entries, but it's another thing to be giving up entries without trade potential. And realistically, Fasher could have just fell back here. Like, he could have fallen back. There was no need for him to actually keep facing this. But, yeah. That can happen. And now JDC just killed Mihu through full smoke. Not really something we can blame them for, ICLA. Like, for lack of trade potential. Those kind of things, they will just happen on occasion. But we see again a complete split of T's. And it's not necessarily bad, especially in like a 3-on-4. You will have to have someone who's taking space. But there is just a significant lack of trade potential. Again, no trade coming in. There's a possibility of trying for a trade. Electro does get it. But again, a situation where JDC actually had the time to get away. ICLA does move it into a very winnable round though, with Bird playing from long. This duel is big. Now, actually, a slight advantage for ICLA in this round, especially with a CT smoke coming down. A bit of a shame that they don't get in position to hold it. And I think ICLA do have quite low health, so that makes things much more difficult. Nice play from the CTs here. And you see, the way, yeah, I wish I could draw on the map, but the way that the CTs approached it here is a much more refined way of playing Counter-Strike, basically. They have a smoke up on side. They know that no players can be here. They Molotov the side, so that the T can only peek behind the Molotov. Then one CT pushes up here, and when the smoke fades, he gets vision on basically both players. And at the same time, the long player takes contact on both players. This is a perfect example of trade potential where the CTs play in a way where even though they're not playing together, they will have the same duels, but just from different angles. And in fact, that's a much better way of having trade potential. If you can have trade potential while being sort of far from each other, that's much better. That's typically what is the point of like a crossfire. One is in one angle and the other is from a completely other angle, but it makes it really difficult for your opponents to win a fight. So here, I mean, this is just... I guess I want to call this one of the downsides with having an in-game leader like Bird from Sky. It is actually a round where they have a ton of info. Like, from what I know, they are not smoked on Donut, meaning they know that no one has crossed Red Room, they know no one can be Donut, and they have Vladan jiggling with Molotov, like earlier, like the Magisk I talked about, meaning that if the hit comes in on A, they have a really early warning system. But even though they're playing against low money, Bird from Sky decides to push down completely alone. And I've mentioned it a million times. I mean, it is kind of the main thing in this demo so far. But the lack of trade potential here again hurts them. It's an outrageous shot by Electro. But I'm not sure that this is necessary. If you look at the round, like overall, this is realistically a round where 0-0 Nation should have enough info to kind of safely say that the T's are towards B. The only reason I can think that Bird thinks this is a good play is if he is worried that the T's are going in through cave and going to be flooding out or doing like a B pop and he wants to disrupt it. I think a much better solution here for the two rifles playing against low money would be to focus on playing the backline. If you play behind the smokes here, it's fine so long as you hang on to long. And since you can take long range duels against the Tech 9s, this seems to be a better choice. Nice from Fesher though to make this round advantage in their favor again. And in fact, he effectively wins the round for his team. So very important kills coming for Fesher. And that's exactly what they've hired him for. The guy is one of the most mechanically gifted players I've ever seen in my life. Absolutely ridiculously good aimer. Never misses. In fact, let's just watch some Fesher point of view in this round. I have no idea how this round ends up. Oh, I know who wins it, but let's just watch some Fesher point of view. That's always nice. Now he'll probably just go down and die. Now we see the re-aggression on Banana again, just like they did last round. Reason why this is a much better decision this time around is because A, they are playing against weapons, like big weapons, and B, they have an extra player, I think it might be Shurson, who is ready here as third guy, and who is doing, I think, Smoke and Door and Flash. So here comes the... Oh, it's actually Molodor. Now... Yeah, I knew it. Fesher was gonna die immediately. I think I even called it. Somehow, Shurson, or whoever... Yeah, it was Shurson, died in the back, which is pretty ridiculous. And now I think Bird from Sky is gonna be walking right behind someone. Great game sense and sort of understanding of the round from Bird from Sky. And again, nice push with the flash. We see the sort of synergy coming in from the 0-0 Nation players, just flashing for each other a little bit. But yeah, I'm sort of happy to say we have just witnessed a very, I want to call it bad T-side on Ancient. We can assume that not only from the amount of rounds they won, but also from the things we've seen them do. Ikla has not impressed me in this first half, and if someone would have told me this was a demo of a Faceit match, I would have not been surprised if it was a high elo Faceit match, because there hasn't really been any pops, there hasn't been any executes from Ikla. There really hasn't been a whole lot to tell you that this is a team playing and not a mix. And yeah, this is something that I wouldn't say scares me necessarily, but it makes me a little bit upset. I'm expecting, even though, as I mentioned, that this game goes to overtime, that we're seeing a much better T-side come out of 0-0 Nation. And I assume they will be losing on individual duels more. Like someone from Ikla going nuts and getting multi-frags. more so than them not having trade potential. We see it already here. They play in pairs much better in the pistol round. They play a default pistol round. And now they scout out the B side, put a little bit of pressure, which gives a gap for the T's. This is actually a pretty crazy good pistol round from CS2 Nation. Now they plan to choke out the B bomb side. But again, as I said, probably we're going to be looking at multi-kills from the Ikla guys. In fact, they don't even get it. I mean, they did get a multi-kill out of Mihu. Not much more than that. We see again individual skill level of Fesher. I think actually he's on one right now. Got 4 kills by the looks of it. Looking for the ace. Does get it? He actually does. Always a guy with extremely clean aim. So now that you've heard me say so many times that this game goes to overtime, you're probably thinking, how is that possible? They just won the pistol round. They're up 10-3. How in the hell can this go wrong? I don't even know, but we'll see. Again, talked about the anti-eco. I wanted people to play in pairs. I wanted 2-3. And this is exactly what we're getting out of CS2 Nation right now. Look how close the 3 T's are on B. And look how close the T's are in mid. Even if Ikla are going to be a stack, there will always be trade potential and people with the ability to react on the other side. Now we see a spread of 5 players, but all with sort of the exact same distance between them, and everyone kind of having a teammate that they can hold in their hand if they want to. We see off this Molotov some space being taken. But this is also sort of what I mentioned earlier. The scouting with the MAC-10 can be very, very good. These 2 mid players working together, the MAC-10 working alone, and a pair of people being able to trade. Now we see, again, multiple people around the same area. It means that these duels are all quite easy. And it is actually another round for CS2 Nation. Not only that, there were 5 alive, and it did get some MAC-10 kills as well, at least 1. So they are starting to build a bit of a bank, and they are up 11-3. With an extremely cerebral caller in Bird. So how can this go wrong? Something is going on here on A bomb side. It looks like fake pressure. The idea here from Bird from Sky, I imagine, is if we look at the CTs of Ikla, they all decided to buy M4. This is another sort of indicator that it is a team that hasn't been together for too long. They prioritize shooting capabilities over prioritizing utility. And I think Bird from Sky, knowing this, is faking an A push to get the CTs on A to use all their utility. This makes them be more uncomfortable to the point of rotations being more likely towards the A bomb side, which allows for CS2 Nation to go over and take the B bomb side. So if we look just now, Mihu was playing farmers with 0 grenades. There is a smoke on Topa, a smoke on 8x, and a flash, and the other players have nothing left on 129. This is wild, and is evident of a good T side. Exactly what I was expecting out of CS2 Nation. They understand the economy that the opponents are working with. They are playing slow but controlled. They have not been giving easy entries, which Ikla was doing constantly on their T side, and they seem to be a step ahead. We see the 2 T's set up. One on this angle, one on this angle. Again, the trade potential. We see the trade potential in mid. Much more tactically sound than what Quem was doing alone every round. And yeah, now it's probably a little bit of that individual brilliance that we talked about. The Ikla players potentially getting multi-kills. In fact, not even. It's a 2-on-3 for CS2 Nation. And I guess that is kind of also good, because this shows that the strong T side is working. Now we see also, I would say, what is sort of a facet thing. The CTs are splitting up when there are only 2 alive. And the likelihood of one of the players killing 3 on one bomb site alone is smaller than gambling on one side and letting the T's win if they go on the other side. From how the match ends up, I'm going to have to assume that ICLA win this round. But still, splitting up in a 2v3, it can work. It's just typically not what we see from pro players. And in fact, it doesn't work. My whole point here is that Topa, even though he gets his first kill, it's hard for him to challenge for this area. If the CTs would have been playing more together here on the backline, well, they give themselves maybe a 50% chance, since they're 2 on 3, but they do have like sort of positional advantage in the fact that the CTs the T's don't expect multiple CTs here. And they give themselves a 0% chance if they go A. Let's say they just decide, okay, we don't care, we will save our weapons. What messes up here is the fact that Topa has to hang on to the backline, and he is alone. So even though he gets his 1 kill, Bird slips the net. And not the bird, like not the first bird to slip the net. But yeah, even more so, I'm being surprised. How in the hell do they manage to go to overtime here? So I might have been, I think I've explained this in the Gosu Academy session before. Typically, if you are the less experienced players, or the players who will lose over rounds with a lot of decisions made, what you will be typically seeing is a more all-in playstyle. That's what we saw from ICLA on the T side. They didn't have perfect trade potential, they didn't have perfect spacing, they didn't really have tactics. So what do? They rely on individual skill to take them across the finish line. Here's an example of a pretty all-in round. Miho goes down like out of cave and takes over the B area. This is something that is definitely a win condition for ICLA in the rest of this half, what I would imagine at least, because taking over space and doing something that gets the T's out of their comfort zone and out of their, how can I say, basically forces the T's to make mistakes, kind of like what we're seeing here. We saw the trade potential being good before. JDC now pushes through the mid-smoke alone, tries to fight Mihu. Because of this, he gets killed by Quem. Now the CTs have full B control, and they have full mid control, and they have an entry. Exactly what they need. And now even more space and position for the CTs. But this comes off the back of them doing a sort of Hail Mary, forcing the fight on B. And then, since they don't get it, JDC realizes, okay, we need to take space back somewhere. He does it in an uncoordinated way. Potentially, I would even say too early. No reason for him to step in front of the mid-smoke alone. And this is, I guess, also an indicator of the experience from CS2 Nation. They decide to forfeit the round. I am a big fan of this, because the way the money works in Counter-Strike, the losing bonus compounds over time. It becomes bigger and bigger. If you have a huge lead, like 12-3, something like this, exactly what we're seeing here, sometimes it can actually be advantageous to stay alive, forfeit the round, but build up your losing bonus. While this might sound kind of, it might sound true, it might sound untrue, the way I can best explain it is that for CS2 Nation, they don't care at all how much money ICLA has. All they need is 1 round. If they get 1 round, then that's enough. For them, it doesn't matter if ICLA have $16,000, and after CS2 Nation win the next round, then ICLA will be able to buy back for 8 rounds in a row. They literally could not care. You could give ICLA $1 million each, it would not matter. The only thing CS2 Nation needs to care about with a big lead on match point is their own economy. So forfeiting more rounds, where you stay alive and save your weapons, builds this losing bonus earlier, which builds a bank earlier, which means you will never have to take an eco. And in the event now, it's not the case, but if CS2 Nation would now have, they would lose the next 3 rounds, and they will sit here with big losing bonus, like 3.4k, and they would have $5,000 each. They literally could not buy themselves broke for the rest of the half. Like, even if they lose every round by losing 5 players without getting bomb plant, the losing bonus and with how little money they're spending, about for a rifle player at least $4,700, and they're getting $3,400 back. This is enough that at least for the next 6 rounds or something like this, they can sustain themselves so long as they don't have to rebuy AWPs all the time. So forfeiting around here is definitely the smarter move. Again, shows the experience from Bird and his boys. Another indicator of experience, again, the sort of all-in poker theory that I've talked about earlier. CS2 Nation have the more experience. They are the better players. For them, they are thinking, okay, we can give space early to ICLA and we can always retake it. And this is the right way to do it, because ICLA, being so far behind, will be using their utility early in most of these rounds. They are scared to make one mistake, one fatal mistake, and lose the match and be out of the qualifier. I do believe this is the match to get to the close qualifier, which makes it even more high pressure. And if you have a big lead, playing slow typically puts extra pressure on the opponents, because every second that ICLA is waiting is a second where they can doubt themselves. But this guy has an interesting position. He is unspotted and unexpected, I'm fairly sure. Like, Fasher will likely go and clear this position. In fact, he won't. And now I'm missing the whole mid-fight. Now this guy has timing. Holy hell. Yeah, okay. Well, apologies for missing the mid-fight. I can go back real quick. I need to just see what QM does that I don't do here. So the first guy kind of gets baited in by the AWP shooting. He gets 2 big kills, and then Miho swings from window, and that's it. So this can be the downside of playing slow. One guy got advanced position on B. The CTs expected the late mid take, and with that they did heavy mid fight late. And that is honestly also the best. Oh no. Guys, I skipped back. Oh, I found the round again. Then it's all good. Let's skip the eco. But that is definitely a very solid way of playing for ICLA against what CS2 Nation are doing. When they know, like when ICLA know that CS2 Nation are playing slow, what they would like to do is play kind of early round slow and not take too much risk, and then gamble in the mid round. That's how you beat a team that plays slow. To explain why, the teams that play slow will be holding at the beginning, and if you play aggressive, you will go into people who are holding. But at some point, any slow team will have to move. Doesn't matter if you are Virtus Pro or like Old Na'Vi or these kind of teams. It doesn't matter if you're a team that executes early in the rounds, like maybe ends. Eventually, a team will have to move. And understanding the pacing of your opponents is when you can know when to push. So here, they knew CS2 Nation were playing slow, and so they decided to do a heavy fight together somewhere around the 1 minute to 50 second mark. This is probably around the time you want to be doing the fights. Against a team like CS2 Nation, we'll be checking later. A team like Virtus Pro, for example, if you fight them around 50 seconds or 1 minute left on the clock, they're still holding and you will die. So it depends really on who you play against. We missed this opening kill, and I'm just curious to see. I guess this is just Bird from Sky trying to get an entry. Topa spammed all his bullets. He felt like he had a read. There is a bit of trade potential, at least a try for trade. And in fact, a trade that actually comes. Problem is, return utility means Fasher is dead. The CTs have cleared out all of B. They also have mid control from Cave. And this leaves only A. So one of two things will happen now. Either the CTs will second guess themselves, or like think, oh no, the CTs are going A, and will over rotate. It's kind of what is happening for edX. It's actually a very sound way of approaching this round. One guy holding mid control, one guy holding B control, and the guy from backline rotates to A. You stack 2 guys on A while still having early warning system on mid and B. And this is actually brilliant from edX as well. He comes and re-smokes mid before he goes A. And yeah, that is just amazing. Give me just a moment.
Good night.
Good night. People on the video can hear you and can hear you kiss. So now they know I've kissed someone. Yes, sleep well. Okay, so as I was saying, what Addix is doing here is really smart. He re-smokes the mid. This, if the T's don't beat the mid smoke, this will allow the mid player to hold mid alone. This even further urges the T's that are outside mid right now to go to A, and it means that this early warning system on B is worth more. So doing this is really big. This is a misplay. I think we can safely call it. Now, the early warning system on B likely has to be given up, at least if the T's decide to flash mid. In fact, this guy is risking it, but we do see the impact of it. Addix has decided to rotate over back to B. Now, the way that the CTs can solve this puzzle is Addix comes and takes B. It's very unlikely at this moment that the T's are going to go cave, because they would have to go all the way back and then go to cave and then go to B. If they go back to B, they likely go banana, and this is why Addix with AWP here is really strong. Since the CTs have re-smoked mid, this CT can go out and he can hold mid alone. And then they fill they plug all the holes.
And
this does...
yeah? Just a second, your audio is lagging.
Okay.
Just aligned in the chat that...
Only sometimes, like for a good 20 seconds or something.
I will try to just restart the stream real quick. I don't know what that would change, but thank you so much for bringing it up. I hope it's better now, or...
Yeah, it only happens like once a minute for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll randomly start lagging as you're talking.
Okay.
I think as soon as you open up the minimap, though.
Yeah? Is it lagging now?
No, it's good now. I noticed like two or three times that happened when you open up the minimap.
Okay. I mean, I'll keep an eye out for
like 3-4 minutes ago. It wasn't the whole time, so...
Oh, okay, that's great, that's great. Well, I'll continue. If this keeps being a problem, you can tell me, but honestly, I would have no idea how to fix it, because if I'm lagging on Discord, it's likely because of an internet issue, and that's probably not something I can fix before the end of the session. So, but you can still, I would like to know it. And you can always, if you hear me lagging, just tell me to stop for one moment. You guys are not lagging for me, and then I can continue afterwards. So thank you guys. The reason why this is so much worse now with the mid player dead is that the A player has a big job on his shoulders. If he goes down now, it's a GG. And I think this is Lecro. I know he is pretty good on A. He's like an anchor type player with phenomenal aim. He's also just a great guy. I love this guy. And I guess the whole round and game rests on his shoulders. It's not an easy situation. This angle is a very strong angle for multiple reasons. One of them is that it's an off angle on main, as you can see. For the T to go into his crosshair here, they will have to be out of main and likely focusing elsewhere. But if you sit all the way on the back of the wall, it means that if JDC and Vladan, they try to boost up on the boost, Lecro will be able to see them and kill them. I think the reason he doesn't play all the way back is because he does not want to be open to the boost. Or maybe it's just random that he's sitting like this. He might move back to the back wall soon. We'll see how it works. So now, because he's not sitting on a back wall, he doesn't get spotted by the boost. But maybe JDC will kill him. No. So Lecro gets the jump. And I think it is honestly a little bit lucky. Personally, I would rather sit all the way back on the wall. At least I'm fairly certain. Maybe it's just that if he stands up instead, he can see the boost. But it works out for him here. He does go down, so it does turn into a 2v2. And actually a big flank from Mihu, which is very interesting.
Sadly, the lag is back now.
Oh, okay. That's a shame. Is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I think maybe the way we handle it, guys, is just that I will just continue. And since my recording will not be laggy, if there's something you miss or something that you thought was extra interesting, you can rewatch the video and then you will have it without my lag. Does that sound like a good solution to you guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, because I have no idea what other solution we could do. So
Sounds like the only solution, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but thank you still so much for bringing it up. So in this position, why this is so good is with this AWP angle, edX, I assume it is able to say no one is big box, no one is tempo, and he kind of, if he moves forward, which I think he will, he can say that no one is main. Even this is enough, basically. The only way someone could be main now is if they would go here and boost up and then the guy would go main. So this is unlikely to happen. With Mihu coming in from A main, this means that they can like completely rule out A main and they can now focus their attention all in the same direction. Really, really important kill from edX. And now they know this last guy, he can only be in one spot, and that's Donut. Okay, that's actually a pretty tough round from edX. Let's see how Vladan plays it. He actually misses the shot. Wait. No. Okay, that's a huge misplay from Vladan. The reason why it's a huge misplay is because when he jumps across here, this is amazing. Now he uses the HE and he baits out a shot or like a peek. edX just pressed the bomb, and so obviously he can't defuse in 1 second, he needs 5. So Vladan peeking this early is actually what allows edX to win this round. If Vladan is just a little bit more stoic, counts down the seconds, like 5, 4, 3, and then peaks, instead of after 1 second, if he peaks after 3, that is probably enough for edX to commit to the defuse or not have enough time on a bomb. So pretty upsetting round from Vladan, and probably one that will be a tough pill to swallow for him. So another thing or another big benefit with having a big lead is that you are able to try a lot of things and you're able to take a lot of risk in your calls. So now they went with the slow approach. It hasn't really given them the result that they've been looking for because they haven't been getting that one round. Now they're going for the straight up approach. They buy AKs, they don't have a lot of util. Susan is going to just turn off this Molo and they're just going to go up at B and hope to win. This could work timing wise. It's actually a little bit of a shame they didn't do it earlier because this guy would have had no bullets. Very good defensive flash here coming in. And very good defensive smoke. Now this entry or like opening kill from Miho is very big. And these flashes coming in as well are what's going to win the round. But this was very dangerous. And honestly, it just came down to like 1 or 2 seconds of timing. That would have made all the difference for 0-0 Nation. If they would have gone just slightly earlier, it would have been enough. So, A-Rush comes in. I think this is pretty nice for people who are Swedish, whose name is Electro. For a quick round. And because I know sort of what happens at the end of regulation, I want people to keep in mind this round we just had with Vladan, who lost the one-on-one. Not the easiest of rounds for him for sure. Probably a round he could have still played differently, like I mentioned. But keep this round in mind and think about how this could have been a 0-0 Nation round. Keep in mind the B round, how this could have been a 0-0 Nation round, and enjoy the show. Because now we get to the meat and potatoes of the demo. The whole reason why we picked this one, probably a lot of us don't know. This Quem guy, as we've seen many times, strong in his duel, wins his first duel, but a net negative for him and his team because he gives up the he makes the 5-on-5 into a 4-on-4, traditionally a T-side advantage. Now an A-push comes in, there's a really extremely big kill from Lecro. This guy unspotted, catches a good timing on Vladan, now with the bomb down. Good kill from edX, and it leaves, I guess, Susan with the AWP here. A round where he probably again just wants to save. We talked about it, like repurchasing an orb is more expensive, of course. And while I mentioned that the economy is very healthy, we talk about the big loss bonus already. But now they all have over 5k. They can definitely buy back up into this round. And this is when the party starts. Very crazy things are going to happen now. Let's say it like that. Things are, in fact, like, I've never seen a match end in this fashion, so... We can see the nerves starting to build on CS2 Nation as well. Like, it's a small thing and probably sort of insignificant. At least in terms of... Not insignificant in terms of the result, but just insignificant in terms of... Yeah, I don't know. We can't really conclude too much from it. But we haven't seen them failing utility like so before in this half. And even if they were not nervous, failing easy utility like this is definitely something that will make you more nervous, because you'll be thinking, oh my god, I'm fucking up now, what is going on, blah 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 blah. Professional players have a strong mentality, but obviously no one is a robot, no one is perfect, and I'm sure that some of these thoughts are starting to plague the minds of our dear friends from CS2 Nation. Beautiful set piece, I will call it, from ICLA. I don't think this is something they have planned out, but I've never seen an AWP play in this way, but tactically very sound. They take full control of B, they get a smoke down in the door, and now for when CS2 Nation wants to retake it, they have an AWP holding this off angle. Such a shame for Adex that he ducks in the exact moment that this player comes in. And now this guy gives up the angle. Honestly, could have ended a whole lot worse for CS2 Nation. Should have realistically been an entry and an early warning system for ICLA. But now instead remains a 5-on-5. Again, we see the reposition from Adex. Not exactly sure how old this guy is, but definitely a guy to keep an eye out for. This guy has pretty wild individual skill, and is, from having not watched any of his other demos so far, really impressing me in terms of his individual decision making. This position he had on Banana was great. Now he's moved over here. Why is this good? I wish I could draw, but by him holding the angle on Banana, it's again early warning system, should have gotten an entry. Now moving over to Cave and holding this means the T's can only move back towards the A side of things if they go back through T-spawn, and they are unlikely to do so with the low time. So this is an entry. Finally he gets it, and that's a return, and that is what actually opens up the round. Now a 4-on-4. This player sneaks into a great position, but completely misses the spray, and dire straits for the CTs. Good kill from Lecro, and in fact another one. Now a 2-on-3 for the T's, but a good kill from Syrson. Bird from Sky lining up the spam, but thinking better of it. Adex goes down, and believe it or not, the Kobe of Dreams comes sailing in here and does a ton of damage. And not only that, let's go in Topa's point of view, because this is wild. His teammates die. He picks up an HE. He does a Kobe of Dreams and picks up another HE and does another Kobe of Dreams that kills both of the remaining T's, and he defuses the bomb. An absolute steal. What should have honestly been an ICLA round through and through became an advantage for CS2 Nation with 2 players down on the ramp and a bomb in an uncomfortable position planted. But the double nade that he picks up, neither of those nades were his own. And yeah, manages to actually win this round. And now CS2 Nation with pace, we see them achieve what ICLA couldn't, and we see them achieve it through B especially. Here is mid control from T's early round that we have basically never seen. We see an entry for CS2 Nation, and once again this is looking like a CS2 Nation round. Now Syrson goes down, but a 4-man sneak through the red room is should be very unexpected. Adex, the guy who has had insane reads so far in this match, gets completely caught off guard, and that tells you the whole story about how unexpected this move is. This player, not sure who, moves in. It's Topa, takes one, needs more, gets 2 kills in fact. Now, a 1 versus 3 to win the game. Vladan kills the first, takes Topa, and kills Mihu. Becomes a 1v1 between Lekro and Vladan. But Vladan, with a very low HP, here's the zoom and smokes off Lekro. Here's the Molotag. Here's the steps. It's very clear for Vladan what is going on right now. He should know he's playing up against an AWP. By the looks of it, with how Lekro is playing it, he does not know that Vladan is low. Lekro has probably the best, like one of the top 5 best deagle aims we've ever seen in Counter-Strike. And for him not to pull out the deagle tells me he doesn't know that Vladan is low. Bomb is planted in a very open spot. And Lekro pulls out the deagle, misses twice. Running out of options, pulls out AWP, uses Molotov, and now defuses the bomb. And Vladan with the low HP can't do anything but run through the Molotov and die. And somehow, with 3 extremely winnable rounds, the 1-on-1 on Donut, the 2-on-1 here on Ramp, and a 1-on-1 here on the B bomb side, that basically loses to utility, or gets lost due to utility. Somehow ICLA have clawed their way back from 9 straight match points for CS2 Nation. And the reason why this demo is crazy to me is because these last 2 rounds were big advantage CS2 Nation had it not been for the utility. The utility, like the double HE that Topa picked up, and now the utility from Lekro, it's wild. These kind of rounds should not have happened independently, almost. But them happening in the same game, at match point, and back-to-back is wild. One of the craziest closings of regulation that we've ever seen. Now, understandably so, ICLA has called a technical timeout. Not sure if it is a technical issue, but from their point of view, I can understand wanting a breather. One of the best things for them as well going into this overtime is that you know that the mentality of CS2 Nation is in the dumps. They have just managed a huge, huge comeback, and yeah. Wild is the only way I can explain this. Going into an overtime, it's not always easy to say who has sort of the advantage, because sometimes these teams who make a big comeback, they crumble in overtime when the game actually gets you get the feeling like, okay, we could actually really win it, and then you drop the ball. Many people have talked about fake comebacks, as they're called. But there are also times when it does happen. And I'm not going to give any hints as to what happens for the people who don't know the result. I've been very open about this going to overtime. We still got a little bit of time left. And again, mid-control gained by the T's. Something that ICLA couldn't. A failed smoke landing on top here has a very big impact, because with the 2 smokes from the T's, JDC can be very secure in knowing that there's space to be had in mid. There is basically no way that the CTs can be out and holding mid since the smoke failed. So for ICLA, what do they do now? Advanced positioning on JDC here in red room, and heavy pressure on the CTs. Again, we see the poker theory working out quite well. A very cool flash, actually. I've never seen that before. Very cool. But the poker theory in full effect. The more experienced and sort of the more tenured players playing slow, it gives up a entry, or like a second entry for CS2 Nation, and they are just choking out the CTs with their slow pace. Now we see a classic, again, I mentioned it earlier, and this was what I fully expected, but a good T-side from CS2 Nation. What is happening right now? Well, CS2 Nation did a fake execute on B to pull 2 players onto the B bomb site. By doing so, the CTs kind of have to leave a gap on Red Room if they want to fight B, and this is now the timing that is being taken on Red Room, but it's in fact also being taken on A, meaning that CS2 Nation give themselves a backup plan. They're allowing space for the lurks, and we see it here. Now, A is clear. They're starting to second guess themselves. They want to move back to the A bomb site, but the rotation is very long. And they do have one player we have talked about quite a bit in prime position to shut this down. Miho pushes out on good time and kills Bird from Sky. He does get traded, but Adex gets a key kill onto Vladan, pushes in front of the Molo, and actually gets the kill onto Syrson with not even minutes, with seconds to spare. JDC comes in, Fasher as well. They do take down Adex. And yeah, just again, intense rounds. This is now, after this round where IKLA have been losing mid control a couple of times, is a round where they want to overfight mid and try to take back the space. This is also a very technically sound decision. You don't want the T's to feel like there's free space to be had in mid. So by heavy fighting mid, you make it so they are less willing to do this at a later time. They heavy fight mid, they get 1 entry on JDC. It could have had a second if he would have kept his gun out, but Syrson, one of the most aggressive AWP players that the game has likely ever seen, at least the game of CSGO. And one that always will go for a repeak. Another person who will always repeak and never shy away from a fight is QUAL. Takes down both Bird from Sky and Fasher, and changes the 3-on-4 into a 3-on-2 advantage. Now goes back and, interestingly enough, holds the Heaven. Now, you can see the idea here. The CTs have cleared out B, and last time, when there was pressure elsewhere, Vladan took timing out A. QUAL is unaware whether or not someone has gone and taken a timing on A. He would love to go clear out this area now, but if he does it alone, he runs the risk of dying, so he's waiting for his teammates to come on over. This gives him a bit of a lucky timing on Red Room, where he checks out, he basically finds, actually it was not even QUAL, it was Topa, but doesn't really matter. He finds info on both players and gets one of the kills, and that puts 1 round on the board for IKLA. Again, a very intense back and forth, and again, a very, just entertaining round. Talk about entertaining, a guy who puts on a good show is QUAL. Takes down Syrson early on here on middle. Pretty crazy idea from Syrson, but we talked about the aggression. And sometimes what can happen to a player with a very passive nature is that in high pressure situations, they will become too passive and miss timings. Well, an aggressive player has a tendency to, when there is a lot of pressure and they want to be winning the game, make decisions that are more aggressive than they would have otherwise. This could be an example of that. It's most likely just a spawn peek, but not something we have seen him do so far. And he does get punished for it and puts his team, honestly, in a pretty rough spot. Here, a bait setup for the... I'll actually even go back a little bit. There was a bit of a bait setup here in Cave where Miho was spamming, and the confidence on Adex to play in here with AWP nets him a kill. Now a bit of spam from, I don't actually know who, QUAL I think, yeah, who goes down with very few bullets. The T's go fast through Donut, but Vladan with a crazy kill. Now Tupa takes down JDC, and honestly probably a bit of a misplay from JDC, seeing as this was a 3v3 and a round where he could have potentially late lurked instead of early lurked. Now him going down, they know they don't really run the risk of a lurk since they saw both players in Donut. They approach the round carefully though, and there is actually a big flank, I think from Bird from Sky, who is, again as I said, an extremely smart player. Smoke does go down and a full commit on the bomb. great HE, but doesn't actually find the angle, and Miho and Edix, they combine for the 2 last kills. This leads IKLA to have a lead for the first time since almost the beginning of the game. In fact, it might be the first time they lead at all. We did see both teams struggle mostly on their T sides though, and that does lead me to believe that IKLA will have a tougher run into this round. That's in fact exactly what happens as Edix drops early. And yeah, a slower affair from IKLA, a double face. In fact, Miho somehow comes out of that with both kills. Syrson takes down his teammate, and it is just, I mean, probably an idiot would tell you this as well. This is worst case scenario for CS2 Nation. A great trade gets found by JDC. It does even up the round slightly more. But the CTs are left scrambling. They have pretty decent information, but at the same time are leaving the B bomb side open and the A bomb side somewhat open. Now, Ladan does take 1 kill, and the B side is forfeited, but in a 3-on-2, they should be more than doable for the CTs. Does depend on a few things though. Part of it being Fesher hitting his shots, and he does. He does get taken down by Topa, and in a 1-on-3, he does get taken down. So back and forth once again, 14-14 on the board. A round where financially IKLA are going to be broke if they go and lose this round. So pretty much a round that they have to win. But I've seen evidence to believe that these players are very good at playing with their backs against the wall. Edix and Miho get 1 kill apiece. Ladan burns to a crisp. A quick start into the round for IKLA. And even with this very spread default that I mentioned earlier, which does sort of indicate less team play to some extent, because of exactly this lack of trades, there is still a very good chance in this round for IKLA, who now rotate over to the A bomb side. Syrson in a pretty much unwinnable round, but one that he kind of has to go for. Money-wise, they don't have really a reason not to. And if he gets enough kills, it might even be troubling for IKLA to put together a goodbye for the next and final round, at least of the first overtime. But doesn't happen. Syrson goes down. CS2 Nation buy down to yeah, college student level, having to live off of ramen for like a full month to make rent. We've all been there. Now, with the great success that they had last round, Bird from Sky and Syrson with the re-aggression on B, they do it once more, this time with a better result. Fake pressure coming in on A, and Bird from Sky losing a crucial duel. JDC though with 2 kills and a failed Molotov actually allows a CT to sneak through. But Edix again, the great read, the man who's always in the right position. Miho gets a kill. Edix actually misses a shot. I didn't think this was possible, but when given a chance for a second shot, he does land it. And in fact, what was an almost unlosable game for CS2 Nation becomes a lost game for CS2 Nation. What an insanely tilting game that must be. Many things coming down to utility and I would say unlucky incidents like Syrson killing Bird from Sky in the previous round where they had the advantage. You can always say like luck favors the bold, and definitely IKLA were the bold here. But yeah, an interesting demo for sure, and one where I think actually there was a lot to discuss in terms of the tactical aspect. A lot of really exciting rounds as well, and a completely crazy result in a match that sent IKLA to the close qualifier and CS2 Nation out of the RMR qualifier. Obviously, CS2 Nation still have 2 chances left, and they seem to be a very good team. So I fully expect them to make it. But if not, this will probably go down in history for these players, individual history at least, in their careers as one of the biggest throws and one of the most unforgettable matches they've played, but for all the wrong reasons. So, yeah, very long demo. I know I've been just talking for like 1 hour and 15 straight. I know we haven't really even had time for questions, but we do now have time for a few questions. So, if anyone has anything to say. Did you learn something from the demo? Did you like, I don't know, the approach from Serious Nation?
I think it's really important to study the Oppers play. The A-class Oppers game. He plays so well, and he reads situations so good.
Yeah. Yeah, even just this last round that we watched, like, I think his teammate might have, he actually sees him cross, but it's just, he makes things look so easy for himself, but on top of that, his individual skill is good. Yeah. Yeah, and very confident, Opper.
In your mind, when does mid-round start? Because I know you mentioned depending on the team you play against, if they're like outsiders or VP, they're holding for longer. Like, how do you determine when mid-round starts and when to re-aggress if you're CT?
So I would say mid-round starts around the 1 minute mark, like maybe 1 minute 5, 1 minute 10. Can sometimes a little bit depend on, I guess, the pacing of the match. I would say like 1 minute is a pretty much, like, I guess that's the literal answer as well, as that is almost exactly the middle of the round. I would define like the early round as the first 20 seconds after you have, not after you have left spawn, but after you've come to the positions that you will be playing, right? So like the first 8 seconds where people are just running out of spawn, they don't count for anything because it's not early round in a way. I mean, no one can fight. It's just utility usage. The early round, I would say, is like the first 20, maybe 30 seconds of where people have positional play, and that typically works out then that the mid round is around the 1 minute. The mid round is the mid round no matter who you play against, but there are just some teams where you basically will have to, as CT, regress on the late round, like VP, for example, famously. They will hold down to the last 25 seconds and then make the push. And that's what catches people off guard, I think. Yeah. I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
Perfect. Anyone else?
Yeah, I kind of have a question. If you're pretty certain mid main is gonna be smoked off and you have a spawn for red room spawn smoke, should you still throw that spawn smoke, or knowing that mid main is going to be smoked off, you should save that for a retake for mid?
It really just heavily depends on your approach, because if you don't smoke red room, it is more free for the CTs. Like, how can I say? If I'm CT and I have an AWP and I don't get smoked off in red room, I will potentially just sit like this, or I will sit like this, and now I can hold mid very easily. If people do a red room smoke, I will probably be more inclined to do a Molotov and an HE. But if there's no red room smoke, it kind of means that the T's don't want to be playing fast, right? And so maybe if I have an AWP and the T's never smoke red room at the start, instead of using my Molotov, I'll just hold with AWP. And I can save a lot of util. And the only thing that changes there is that the round timer is running down, right? But if you as T do a red room smoke, the CTs have to kind of guess whether or not you will be playing a fast round. And if you don't do that fast red room smoke, you might have issues with what I call balancing. This means if you want to run a fast round and you smoke red room, then the CTs will know something is up. Does that make sense? Like, because if you play a... Oh no, sorry, let me start a little bit different. If every time your team plays a slow round, you don't smoke red room, well, that means the CTs can guess exactly when you're doing something fast in mid because you do a red room smoke. So a lot of the time, the red room smoke from spawn will just be to fake the default. And you get the CTs to use util.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No problem. Just this lurk smoke I talked about earlier. I don't even know how I did it anymore. Actually, I feel like I just... I have a different lineup, but I was looking for this lurk smoke, and I just found this lineup. I just get stuck here, and then I just aim like here on the leaf. I think, like at the these leaves basically. Let me see. I think I failed it. I think it was the wrong leaves. Like, I guess you can just use the radar to get like a feel for how much to the right you need to do. But I swear this smoke works. I promise you. Maybe in the middle of the tree branch. Yes, this looks pretty good. This mid smoke, this was what I expected to see, but we didn't see it. It gives you a lot more space as T to come out here and fight these angles. And especially in combination with the red room smoke. If the CTs are too afraid to fight for mid because of this smoke, now you can do like a Molotov copy, and then you can actually just focus your attention on the left side and even peek with the smoke towards donut, and it gives you so much more space to work in mid. Neither of the teams threw the smoke. I made it look much harder to throw than it actually is, but yeah, it's something you can try out in your games that you play if you want, because I think this is a smoke we will be seeing at the major. Not something we saw really in CSGO ever, but I think more and more teams will start adapting to the smoke.
Liquid's been throwing that one in the RMRs.
Yeah, top teams are throwing it for sure. That's kind of where I have it from. But yeah, these two didn't. So I think we will see it more and more because this is like, yeah, tactically making a lot of sense to do. But no one had really thought about it, I guess, or tried it. I think since I spent so long in this demo, since it was an overtime demo and there was a lot of stuff to say, I have to wake up in 7 hours basically. So I think I will only really have time for like 1 or 2 more quick questions, but I want people to have the chance to get their questions answered if someone has something important. Yeah, or unimportant. I mean, I'm here either way. Anyone?
When's the next NATO suffix class?
Well, I didn't do last Thursday because I was ill, and sadly, the next Thursday I will. Yeah, okay. Sadly for you guys, pretty good for me, but I'll be in Japan, so I will not be doing my class there, sadly. But on the 25th, you can expect me back, and then also on the 2nd of February and so on and so forth. So it is last Thursday was the first week out of 12 that I missed a week, and it was due to illness. Next week I'm missing because of being in Japan. So it's normally every Thursday. It's just life is a little bit crazy right now. So
I hope you feel better, man.
Yeah, thank you. I don't feel really that bad right now. I'm just going to the doctor to make sure everything is okay because I'm still coughing a little bit, and my antibiotics ran out like a few days ago. Since I have a trip to Japan, I don't want to go there and be like extremely ill and not be able to get home. So, but I appreciate your question because I assume it's a way of saying that you like my session and you would like to come back.
So, for sure, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I've sadly missed the other 3. I keep waking up too late.
All right. I mean, they are rewatchable on my second YouTube channel. The advantage of being here in the academy and being a subscriber is that you can be part of it.
I watched
right?
the mental one.
Yeah.
Needed that one, actually. It was really helpful.
Okay, that's good to know because I was actually sitting down and thinking a little bit about it. I think when we did the last mental session, I had like 4 like quotes to speak from, and we just kind of freestyle the rest. But since then, I've added 5 new quotes. I'm trying to get to 10 and make a video about it. So we could definitely do another mental session again soon enough. Yeah. And if anyone has any requests for, yeah, well, I won't be there for next session, but or like I won't be there in a week, but for in 2 weeks, you can always write me in DM or write just in an Academy chat. I think I have time for one last question, and then I better go to sleep. So no pressure and no rush. I'll give you time to think. If someone comes up with a question that they would like to know, big or small, I'm here for you.
If nobody's got a question, I got a question. Then.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So it's not this class related, but how do you know if a team is not meant for you?
A team is not meant for you?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a really, really good question, actually. Not something I've thought so much about. I think sometimes as a Counter-Strike player, it's good to understand what works for you and what doesn't. Like, say you have trials with a team, and even though you think the players are good, something just doesn't feel right, and that you're maybe not enjoying it so much, or like personality-wise, you don't vibe so well with the people on the team. This would probably be an indicator that the team isn't right for you. But I think like when I went to Sprout, for example, I was like a really I was a smart AWP instead of hitting like shots AWP, and I'll probably always be that. I'm way more loose and flexible now in my play, but back then I played the high percentage play every time. I played in patterns. I was I don't know if I was predictable, but either way, that type of player, what I was, is not a good fit for every team, and I lost a lot of opportunities on teams thinking that I was good, but wanting a more aggressive AWP. This happened a lot because every team wants an aggressive AWP, even though I think, yeah, we're seeing more and more that the top ops are actually pretty passive in nature. Like if you look at like a Brokey or to some extent even a Saiwu, I mean, he's kind of the perfect middle way. But also someone like Jame and Device has also been somewhat known to be a more passive player. These kind of players are honestly the ones who have the most success long term, I feel like. I'm going completely off what you, like away from what you asked. But basically the point was just the player that I was at that moment would not fit in a Russian team at all. Or well, it might, but it would require me to play completely different from my teammates. Like I would have to have 3 hyper aggressive teammates around me, and I would have to be playing trading all the time. I would have to essentially be baiting my teammates a little bit. I'd have to be saving my weapon a lot, kind of like a Jame type thing, because the pace that they would be comfortable playing in would not at all fit the pace that I would be comfortable playing in, and that's why I would regularly probably play behind my teammates. A team like that, I think, would not be a good fit for me, and that's like on a gameplay level. Like something like Zero Nation, they have a really good IGL in Bird from Sky, and everything they do is technically very sound and stuff like this. Looking at ICLA, for example, this is probably not the type of team where I would personally thrive, because it seems like people go out of positions and just play. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is just more individualistic than team play based, and that's just not the type of, like, not the brand of Counter-Strike I enjoy playing. So that would be an indicator. But also, as I mentioned, like personality things can be really big. If you don't enjoy playing Counter-Strike in a team, or if there's one or more than one who's like super toxic or something like that, that would be a pretty big indicator that's not a team for you. So yeah, that's how I see that.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. And I think also actually one thing that I forgot to mention is really important is you need teammates who want it as much as you, right? Like
to try as much as you do.
Yes, if one
have
guy
the same
is
motivation.
super hardworking, yeah, exactly, and everyone else is like only playing for fun, that's not going to be a good team for you. Then it's better to play with some worse players who will improve faster.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Actually, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy I could help. Well, guys, I've actually already, I think the coaching sessions are supposed to be 1 hour, but I tend to always make them like 1.5 hours, and today it's even 1 hour 40 minutes. So I think now would be a good time for me to say goodbye. Also because I'm getting less than 7 hours of sleep. But I really do hope that you all enjoyed. Like everyone here who has been here live. It's so nice to see so many of you. Like the academy is growing day by day. I can tell because we are getting like 15 people at each session now. And when I started just like, I guess like 3 months ago, we were having maybe 5 people per session in CSGO, in Counter-Strike. So it's really good. I'm really happy that you're all here. I hope the people who have been watching the YouTube video have enjoyed it as well. And just one final time, I want to urge you to check out the link in the description. The first month is free. And if you don't like it, you could just cancel it anytime. So that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you another time.